All right, in this video, I'm going to explain to you guys how we can fix the housing market. This is my solution to it. Let me know in the comments down below whether you agree with me or not and why. I'd love to know, but it's really not that hard. Check this out. I'm actually quite shocked that no politician or financial guru genius ever comes up with this idea. They always have ideas like a 50-year mortgage, which is essentially kicking the can down the road, or reducing lending regulations, which I'm not a big fan of, because if you don't have good habits, if you don't know how to manage your money, you don't deserve to buy a house. It's really that simple. So fix your bad habits, fix your credit, and then you can buy a house. But the real chokehold on the housing market today is the banks and the way banks are allowed to operate. So if you ever had a mortgage, you notice that the banks attach all the interest at the front of the loan, right? So let's say, for example, you lived in your house for 5 years, you've been paying your house on time like a good Samaritan, right? And then in year 5, you enter some sort of financial difficulty, you got to sell. If the market didn't improve, you're going to look at your mortgage statement and realize that your principal balance hasn't moved that much. You only have the choice to get into foreclosure or sell the house with a bunch of debt. If we were to make a minor tweak in the way banks will be allowed to operate, I think that could pretty much save everything. And I call this the 50% rule. So let's say, for example, banks would only be allowed to charge 50% from the first payment on interest on the actual mortgage payment. The other 50% would go towards your principal from the first payment on. In this case scenario, let's say you lived in your house for 5 years, you got the same scenario, right? Year 5, you have some sort of financial difficulties. You would have some equity where you can make that move happen without getting foreclosed on. So this would reduce the risk of foreclosure in this country by a lot. This would free up a lot of housing inventory because sellers will be able to sell their homes, simultaneously produce a lot of buyers because people that got foreclosed on wouldn't be forced to rent with bad credit. They can just buy another house. And it would also fix the affordability crisis and the interest rates, because every single time you sell your property, you take an equity out of the home, putting it down on the next property. The more your down payment is, the less your monthly payment's going to be with the mortgage and all that stuff. So if we were to make that one simple change, we could literally kill 4 or 5 birds with one stone. So I don't really understand as to why that is never brought up as a solution, right? Let me know in the comments down below if you guys agree with me, if this would be a good idea, if it would not be a good idea. Let's start a little bit of a discussion here in the comment section. I appreciate your guys' input. Let me know.